Against the backdrop of the ongoing war against Ukraine, discontent is increasingly being voiced within Russia itself, even among those groups the Kremlin has come to regard as loyal. A scandal erupted yesterday at a gathering of so-called war veterans in Siberia. As reported by agency, combatants openly criticized the federal government, propagandists, and the Kremlin's inaction in the situation regarding the humiliation of the military. At a meeting of veterans of the so-called SVO, about 100 occupiers spoke out against the pressure on musician Yuri Shevchuk, Ramzan Kadyrov's attacks on General Vladimir Shamanov, and the behavior of TV presenter Vladimir Solovyov. They said the Russian leadership's demonstrative silence is fueling a sense of betrayal among the military. A certain Shimov from Omsk harshly stated that the authorities had failed to respond to Kadyrov's public insults of General Shamanov. He emphasized that the Kremlin's silence was demoralizing both the military and the youth. How can young people respect the state if they can slander a hero of Russia with impunity? Savin, head of the Kuzbass veterans organization, added that many soldiers took Shamanov's humiliation as a personal insult. The authorities are doing nothing, there's no reaction, and all of this is perceived as a slap in the face. Sergei Zasorin, deputy director of the Center for Regional Cooperation at Moscow State Pedagogical University, was forced to agree with the criticism. He called Kadyrov's attacks a mistake by the top leadership and acknowledged that the Kremlin should not have allowed the general's public flogging. Another target was propagandist Solovyov, accused of venality. Veterans were perplexed why a man who licks where it's profitable continued to broadcast on a federal television channel. The Shevchuk situation also received attention. Occupier Kirillov expressed outrage that the legendary musician, who once performed for free for soldiers during the war in Chechnya, was now being silenced for his anti-war stance. He claimed the authorities were declaring anyone who dared to speak the truth enemies. Such open criticism is extremely rare, especially from war veterans, whom the Kremlin is accustomed to using as propaganda tools. Therefore, this case is one of the few such precedents. Recall, yet the return of Russian soldiers from Ukraine is already straining families and communities, with violent crimes drawing headlines and neighbors on edge. With some 700,000 men still fighting, the country now faces the far larger test of what will happen when they all come home. War veterans often find it difficult to integrate back into civilian society, even with psychological support and rehabilitation programs. Dr. Jenny Mathers, senior lecturer in international politics at Aberystwyth University, told the Moscow Times, "The absence of such support for many Russian war veterans, combined with the emphasis in Russian society on men displaying certain types of masculine behavior, such as toughness, concealing softer emotions such as sorrow or fear, will make it even harder," said Mathers, whose research focuses on Russia's war in Ukraine. Cases of returning soldiers committing crimes have been steadily growing.
The captain of the giant Royal Navy battleship called his officers together to give them a first morsel of one of World War II's most closely guarded secrets. "Prepare yourselves," he said, "for an extremely important task." Speculations abound. One of the officers wrote in his diary that day, June 2, 1944. According to Associated Press, the secret was D-Day, the June 6, 1944, invasion of Nazi-occupied France with the world's largest ever sea, land, and air armada. It punctured Adolf Hitler's fearsome Atlantic Wall defenses and sped the dictator's downfall 11 months later. The diary writer was Lam Pingyu, a Chinese officer who crossed the world with 24 comrades in arms from China to train and serve with Allied forces in Europe. For 32-year-old Lam, watching the landings in Normandy, France, unfold from aboard the battleship HMS Ramillies proved to be momentous. His meticulously detailed but long-forgotten diary was rescued by urban explorers from a Hong Kong tenement block before its demolition.
this photo then, tell me when it was taken and where is Mr. Lam on it?
So it was taken on...
Before 6 a.m., Gremlins also opened fire. 3 torpedoes were fired at us. We managed to dodge them, and we were at the moment turning around to adjust our firing position. The 3 torpedoes narrowly missed the ship on both sides, which was exceptionally fortunate. Makes her look like a beetle. She was also a product of the previous European war. There were also destroyers present, many of the class. You know, if that torpedo had hit the ship, I wouldn't be alive. I wouldn't exist. So it's, let's just say, luck.
While the Allies in Italy have advanced miles beyond Rome, occupying half the country and bringing the German 14th Army to catastrophe, in Normandy, they have also continued to expand their gains. Troops, equipment, and supplies have been literally pouring ashore. That kind of thing is going on all the time, except during spells of impossible weather. Recently, 6,000 aircraft were over France in one...
With twin 15-inch guns, 8 4-inch guns, positioned on both sides, 15-inch rounds, but the German batteries cover and positioning kept it from annihilation. All I knew about my father was that he had fought in Normandy during D-Day. That's the extent of the story. I did not know about any of this background, so they forwarded me an article, and it had the story of how my father recommended himself to Chiang Kai-shek and how he was declined, but then afterwards he was accepted, and his journey from China to Liverpool, the 4-month journey, and all of that. It was so unknown to me, and it was completely surprising. I was flabbergasted. It was emotional. I was so inspired, so touched, and it gave me an insight into who he was.
Canadian troops in the center and on the left of the front, Americans on the right. The race to build up our strength faster than Rommel can concentrate his forces continues. United Kingdom is going ashore.
6時前，南密里斯亦發炮。斯時有3魚雷向該艦攻擊，南密里斯正在掉手取適當位置向岸上發炮，因得免被擊中。該3魚雷向艦旁左右掠過，亦宏大幸也。
And here, funnily, it says the Brits wanted to get ahead of